Doctor Strange. So Doctor Strange is based off the comic book from 1963 of the same name. It follows the story of Dr. Stephen Strange, a very talented neurosurgeon, more specifically being able to keep his hands extremely steady during certain procedures, a task most doctors are unable to perform. This unique skill set has led him to have a life of success, wealth, and has turned him into a bit of an asshole. He starts only taking on patients that are a challenge to him and no longer to help them out and save their lives. This all comes full circle though when eventually he ends up in a car accident, severely damaging his hands, no longer able to keep them steady. This in turn leads Strange to drain his entire wealth, go insane, and end up in a school where magic is the answer to fix his hands. That's all I'll pretty much say without giving any spoilers to you guys. This is a spoiler-free review. I'm just going to tell you what I liked about the film, what I didn't like, hit you with a rating system just like this one, let you know if you see it in the cinema, rent it, or maybe just avoid the film completely. So the character of Doctor Strange, man, this is a character I wasn't all that fond of in the comic books. That mostly contributes to my poor imagination, is also why the fact I can't read fantasy books, I just can't picture that stuff in my mind. But I had big reservations because this is the hardest character Marvel has had to do since the days of Thor. Because when you bring magic into a world, there's really endless possibilities, and with endless possibilities there's very few boundaries. And then your suspension of disbelief and your suspense in the film can go right out the window because literally anything can happen and you don't expect it with magic. That was my biggest fear with going in, but if anybody was going to do it successfully, it was going to be Kevin Feige and the MCU. Starting off with Benedict Cumberbatch, he is Doctor Strange. I knew they had earlier talks of having Joaquin Phoenix play Doctor Strange, but the dry sense of humor, sarcasm, and charm that Benedict Cumberbatch brings to the character of Doctor Strange is so fun to watch on screen. Some could argue the character of Doctor Strange is similar to Tony Stark, where they're both very successful, wealthy people who have a bit of an asshole personality, but I think Benedict Cumberbatch adds that different flavor to his character where you don't see them as the same person, but you are very excited to see them in the same room. I took him seriously when he was a doctor, I took him seriously when he was being the Sorcerer Supreme. Just all around great job, Benedict Cumberbatch, and I can't wait to see you in further films. And then you have the supporting cast members, Chiwetel Ejiofor, he played Mordo in the film. He's basically the guy in green, the star pupil, the one who wants to be on top very bad, and then a guy with a red cape shows up and ruins everything. Where have I seen that before? Jokes aside though, he's a character they did a very good job building up. Chiwetel Ejiofor is not a bad actor at all. He's really great in his performance. Then the way they build up his character and set him up for future installments is very interesting to see. Luckily, Rachel McAdams' character did not fall into that cliche category of I'm just a love interest for this character. No, she actually had a purpose in the film and she served her part well. And Benedict Wong plays this librarian in the ancient temple. He's funny in the way that he doesn't think Stephen Strange is funny at all, and that makes me laugh. And another huge standout on the same level of Benedict Cumberbatch is Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton played the Ancient One. She's basically the Mr. Miyagi to Doctor Strange, and the way she goes on to teach him about the magic world and the way she trains him is very fun to watch, very interesting, and you also believe her when she gets down to the neat and gritty. Because she could have easily have been the boring, monotone monk that just shows up and teaches you a few life lessons and then leaves. No, she actually played it like a real human being with wisdom behind her words. That's something I really appreciate and was happy to see on film because it just made me fall in love with the character of the Ancient One that much more. Aside from the great characters in the film, you obviously have to talk about the special effects in this film. Man, the special effects in this film, they're really wonky, they're really out there. It's really the riskiest film in the MCU, and that's what I like, is that the MCU is willing to take this risk. After almost 10 years of amazing filmmaking, they have earned the right to be a little risky. Some of the stuff they do in here is just so mind-bending, trippy, colorful. It was just so beautiful to watch, and I highly recommend watching this one in IMAX or in 3D if 3D doesn't bother you at all. Another thing I liked about the film is that Marvel has just nailed the formula for origin stories. I remember the days when it would take 45 minutes to an hour before you started seeing the character do anything superhero related. Instead, you just had a bunch of buildups of characters past, useless characters, love interests. And that's what I like, that you don't need to spend so much time proving to us he's a great surgeon, he's an asshole, he has this person he likes, oh, he broke his hands, now he's trying to fix them. Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange, Doctor Strange. That is awesome. It's just respectful to the fans that already know this story and just want to see it played on the screen, and it's also respectful to the new audience that are just trying to get to know this character but are really here to see that amazing special effects and action scenes. Just a solid solo film by Marvel. Again, it didn't have to be too much enticed with the world of the MCU. This was very contained. Although it was a global threat, it still felt like it was contained within the story of Doctor Strange. Moving on to some of the things I didn't enjoy too much about the film. Obviously, since it is CGI heavy, not all the effects are perfect, which is understandable understandable because some of the things they do in this film we have not seen before, so we don't know how real it's supposed to look. So I'm gonna give them a pass on the CG, but I understand some people are so nitpicky about that. And then you have the notorious problem in most Marvel films where the villain is just sort of one shot. Like I said, he's not a terrible villain, but he's not something noteworthy or that'll go down the Hall of Fame of villains in the MCU. He just served the purpose he needed to for this film. I like how in this one it didn't have a personal connection to Doctor Strange. He wasn't some bully from his past or a client he turned down. No, he was just a bad guy who shows up, has no connection with Doctor Strange, and he ends up fighting him. And something that's not really a negative, but I would say a warning, if you're the type of person who just doesn't handle the strange factor or the weird effects, this film might not be for you because they really do go out there in some scenes. It might draw away some crowds, but to me, it was weird enough in a way where it worked. It's something that's not really a spoiler because it's been shown in the trailers. The cape has a bit of a personality, and while I think that was a nice little touch and cute at times, they did use it as an scapegoat more than a few times throughout the film. And I'm just afraid that'll be a recurring theme throughout the Doctor Strange films. I'm fine with the cape having the personality and being a little like pet or sidekick to Doctor Strange, but if it starts saving his life a little too many times, that's when I start to go, okay, this is just a get out of jail free card anytime you want. And that's not something I really want in a character like Doctor Strange. Because in a way, he's sort of like the Batman of magic, where he uses his past knowledge, applies it to magic, and thus is able to get himself out of some sticky situations. That's just what I felt a little bit about the cape. But still, I could see myself falling in love with it in further films, but as of right now, I'm just kind of iffy on that. But really just a solid film, high recommendations. Everything I said bad about the film isn't anything to stop you from seeing it. You really need to go check this out in theaters. You will regret it if you rent it a few months later and watch it on your TV. You're not going to get the same effect that you will on the big screen. One thing I forgot to mention also, this film does a great job of setting up the future worlds for Doctor Strange. You get an idea of who the next villain will be, of what the struggles Doctor Strange might face next, and where he ends up at the end. Oh, and by the way, there's 2 after credits scenes, so stay for those. But anyways, guys, those have just been my opinions on Doctor Strange. Very happy with the film. I'd love to know what you guys thought about it. Please leave your comments down below. Let me know what you agree with me on, what you disagree with me on. Happy to know. But as always, guys, I'm Chris, and I leave you with the 3C Film Review. Take care.